So let's talk about the real reason they wanted gold down and silver down, because there are three of those reasons, and I'm going to break them all down for you. Reason number one, we've talked about before on this channel, it's the midterm elections that are coming up. The US government wanted the dollar strong, and when the dollar is strong, gold gets weaker. Why did they want the dollar strong though? Because a strong dollar makes everything imported cheaper. Cheaper imports means that inflation numbers on the news go down, and the inflation numbers on the news is what people vote on. Nobody wins an election with voters watching their money shrink as gold pushes to record highs. They need prices looking calm by November. A strong dollar buys them that, and gold is just a casualty of this. But that's not the worst reason. Reason three is the worst reason, but let's do them in order. Let's do reason two first. So reason two is that they desperately need someone to buy their debt, the US. See, America has to sell an enormous amount of government debt every single year forever just to survive. Why? Well, it's the exact same reason people stack up debt on credit cards. America earns $5 trillion a year, they spend $7 trillion a year. That extra $2 trillion is called the deficit, and it has to come from somewhere. So they take loans. The problem is when you take a loan, you have to pay interest on that loan. The US has $40 trillion in debt. We all know this. It pays $1 trillion per year in interest on that debt. And like I just said, they spend $2 trillion more each year than they have. So $1 trillion of that is just being spent to pay off the debt. This creates a vicious spiral called the debt spiral, where they have to borrow more just to pay off interest on what they already owe. And if they can't do that, the whole thing collapses. The problem is that less and less people and governments want to lend America money. Buyers are walking away. The dollar's share of global reserves has been falling for years, and central banks have been selling US debt and buying gold instead. Think about what that means mechanically. Every time a central bank buys gold, it means that it's not buying US debt, which means that the US has to offer higher interest rates on its debt just to attract lenders, which means that their interest payments go up. Again, vicious cycle. So what do you do to stop people buying gold and to get them buying US debt again? You attack gold, you lower its price. But no, the Fed is a nice, upstanding organization. They would never do such a thing. Oh, okay, yeah. Anyway, reason three is that gold is a lie detector. So the Fed's entire strategy depends on you believing inflation is going back to 2%. If people stop believing that, they demand higher wages, lenders demand higher returns, and inflation becomes worse. So keeping people believing that inflation is coming down is part of the Fed's job. I mean, they claim that their job is to keep inflation at 2%, and it kind of is, but really their job is just to make you believe that they're going to bring inflation back down to 2%. But the thing is, when inflation is high, people turn to gold. When the dollar is weak, people turn to gold. So gold is like a lie detector saying that these guys are full of shit. So gold flying up is a sign that trust in the dollar is failing, trust in the Fed is failing, which I think is worse than the other two reasons, because if they could just get their act together, they wouldn't have to manipulate markets, allegedly, to make themselves look good. So that's it, 3 reasons: politics, funding, and credibility. By the way, I put together a free retirement guide, how to retire before 2036, 6 steps, everything I'd do if I was starting again at 40 with nothing. No hype, no nonsense. It's free to grab. There's a link below. Check it out.